Hi, everyone. Welcome to today, January 13th, Level Up Together group meeting. How's everyone doing? All right. All right. Let's get started. And let me just share my link. Okay. All right. So welcome for today. Today's topics. We will be talking and discussing our how to make bad memories worse. Why am I so screwed up or broken? And what you resist persists. This is level one manual. I have page 64, so it should be around there for you guys. You guys can pull out your manual as we go through the disclosure for today's meeting. By this meeting is being recorded, so by being here, you're giving me the permission to record you, and it will be put up on YouTube and will be shared in the groups for people to catch up or rewatch, etc. I'm a level four practitioner and I'm not your mentor here. I'm just a host, and we will be talking and discussing the topics and everyone's insights, their experiences, life experiences, and understandings and wisdoms or we share, everyone shares their own, and that way we all grow with each other's insights and wisdoms, and go deeper with the top and create a mutual learning growth. So with that said, let's get started. All right. So who would like to read from the book first? So how to make a bad memory worse. If you have the topic open, just let me know. Hey, Vivian. All right, go for it. You can unmute and let's read.
How to make a bad memory worse, bearing in mind that memories are not stuck and permanent, and that in fact they change every time you recall them. You can easily make a bad memory worse. When you think of a bad memory, focus on how bad it is and all the details. Your mind will search for even more resources that are linked. The body follows the mind, and as you focus on the bad stuff, your body feels it as if it's real and happening now. And that makes your mind find more reasons for it, and so it becomes a vicious circle. The only answer is to change the bad memory to a good memory and then practice that good memory instead of the old redundant bad one. Important facts about how to make a bad memory worse. One, the body follows the mind. Wherever you put your focus determines the feelings, emotions, and sensations you'll experience. Two, whatever you put your attention on is what your mind will create more of. When you think about how a bad memory is and practice it, you will get better at it, making the bad memory even worse.
Right. Any insights on that, Vivian?
Well, um, in my practice, I see it all the time. Body follows thought, and people, it's like I had a conversation with Kathy yesterday. Is the idea that the words that we speak create an affirmation, and then you can literally see body following thought. So anytime that we're looking at what's going on in our experience, all we have to do is go, where was my thoughts? Where were they just now? And so changing those beliefs, going in and looking at the repetitive stories and then working on that and changing it to a new belief, it begins to make everything collapse. And that's what I'm starting to really experience, is that belief right here is supporting all of these different areas of my experience. And as I'm working and rewriting this memory, like getting rid of the energy, rewriting it, they're collapsing. It's like they're just not as important. It's very interesting.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else who has any insights, life experiences, how to make a bad memory worse? Oh, Kathy, you can unmute yourself.
Can you tell me where we're reading from? Because
We are level one manual, page 64
yeah.
around. Yes.
Oh,
How to make a bad memory worse.
That's how I opened it up.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, definitely. So as we talk about the bad memories, and then we always like, we start thinking about the bad memories, keep rehearsing them in our head, and then it's like, oh, and that happened too. And then every time we are in one bad memory and we're accessing another bad memory, we just add more to those other memories, and then we make more and more memories worse and just keep going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I've been finding it's really important not to do that because, like
Yes.
Robert says, it's emotional insanity, but I mean, you can hear those words from them, but until you see yourself speaking them and you're like, no, you know what I mean? You don't want to perpetuate that. I don't want to, my good memories, I want to hold them as sacred, is how I look at them because
It's
I have some I don't have very many. You know what I mean? I mean, I have a lot, but those are my good ones. Those are like don't touch. And so I find myself sometimes bring that into the story. Like if I say something's going on with me and I'm sad, upset, whatever, I can find sometimes I find myself going in thinking about trying to think about a good memory but then finding something wrong about that one. You know what I mean? And trying to bring it in. And I'm like, no, Kathy, don't bring that in here. That, you keep those clean. So,
yes, definitely. Thanks, Kathy.
mhm.
Yeah. Another thing I was just reading just today. I've been reading the Daily Stoic, really good book. Every day, so it has like every day is a different little paragraph, and our mind is the only thing that we have control over. We don't have any control over what anybody else does or says or whatever's happening in our life. We really don't have any control over. The only thing we have control over is our mind, is how we are perceiving it, what we think, our stuff. So it's like we need to really be in control of our mind, you know, keeping our good memories good, not making our bad memories worse, keeping the good ones sacred. But what we keep doing is like, um, because we never learned that we had control over mind, that we try to control everything else around in our life, try to control other people and try to control the situations or get bothered by people. But, it's like, when just to realize and just to like really affirm that true for ourselves that our mind is the only thing we have control over, and don't make the bad memories worse, keep the good ones good, and just you know try to find that peace and work on our old memories, the bad memories that are affecting us.
It's kind of nice to know. Oh, did I? Oh, it's kind of nice to know that that we don't have to control all that stuff anymore. You know what I mean? I mean, like I thought it was my job. I had to. Who else was going to do it? I had to get in there and do it. But the thing is if I don't do it, either it doesn't get done or it does. But it's not not everything is my job. I have taken on the fact that everything and anybody that my life touches, it's my job to either make them happy, help them, do something for them. And it's not.
Exactly. Another cool thing I read in the book was, the only thing that we have control over is our minds. Our bodies are not in our control. We cannot control our bodies. But as we know from eutaptics, the body follows the mind. As we take control of our mind, we clean up our thoughts, the body just follows. We can't just go control our bodies like, oh, I'm gonna take the vitamins, I'm gonna eat good. Yeah, we do all that. But the body's gonna do whatever it's gonna do based on what's in our mind. So the number one thing is clean up our thoughts, clean up our mind, what we are holding inside our mind. Yeah. Yeah, I guess a little off topic, but anyone else would like to share? Hey, Sherry, any other thoughts, insight? We can go to the next topic. Why am I so screwed up or broken? Who would like to read? Korean? Korean, do you have any question or would you like to read?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was grabbing my book. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
Um, Continuously experiencing problems, aka successful, undesirable outcomes. It's very easy to perceive ourselves as broken, but doing this only gives us a good excuse to keep blaming the world for our problems and avoid taking responsibility. The good news is there are no broken people, only people operating from the subconscious, unconscious mind and limited system references. Regardless of what you're experiencing in life, you're successfully producing results that are in alignment with subconscious and unconscious mind and limited system beliefs and ideals intended to keep you safe.
Would like to read that last little important facts about why am I not broken?
Oh, yeah.
Next page.
Thanks.
Um, there are no broken people. Every person is successful in producing results based on what is held in their subconscious and unconscious mind and limited system. Change results or needs to change your references and memories.
Thank you so much, Korean. Would you like to share any insights on that?
It's kind of funny we're going over that. I'm literally, after this, going back up to my parents' house because I'm having a really hard time lately and been, I guess, feeling broken. I'm not really, I don't know. Um, Hopes that I guess other people are feeling like that too.
Definitely. Yeah, I feel sometimes that sometimes you feel like you're just broken, but always maybe keep one thing in mind that this too shall pass and nothing is permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job. You have a beautiful smile, Victorian.
You.
Yeah. Anyone else would like to share anything? Viv.
One of the things that I when I came to Utaptics was when I heard Robert say that there are no broken people. That was so comforting when you find yourself constantly in that loop. You keep repeating things. And as a lymphatic therapist, when I work on people lymphatically and they get I do a session and then their body has reactions, and sometimes those reactions are not that good. Sometimes they feel nauseous or they feel like they can't even hardly function. Their body's exhausted, and what I remind them about is if it feels this bad coming out, just imagine what it feels like staying in. And that's exactly how I see this. Our process is that um, we're all doing this work and cleaning up this stuff. And as it's moving through our tissue, because it's literally moving through, when you look at the neural peptides, you know, our body has to have a reaction at some point. And so I love that we have each other. And I love the idea that we understand that the body follows thought and that these things that we experience, because I know too, Torian, that I had those as well. that like you said, I understand that statement of this too shall pass, but it has to move through the cells of the body. It has to. Those neuropeptides, the neurotransmitters that are called neuropeptides that match our emotions. We just have to remind ourselves this is natural. And I love that we have each other to help each other through it, that this is natural. How we feel is natural, and that we're going to move through this, but we have each other. We have our Facebook group, but it's normal, Torian. It's normal. And I know it doesn't feel good right now, but you just know that it's normal because you're having a chemical reaction happening in your body. So sending you lots of love, my friend. Sending you lots of love.
Thanks, Will. That was very profound, saying that, if it feels so bad coming out, because when we're working on ourselves, just even like the emotional part, just imagine how bad it feels staying in, because we live with it. Yes, thank you. Definitely. Yeah. And also with the why am I so screwed up and broken? And, and then we also feel like we have to fix other people, oh, they're broken. We have to fix them. Nobody's broken. We're just following our program. Yeah, they're all working perfectly in alignment with our program.
So, sometimes I think that program of us trying to help or fix other people is like it's facade, because really what we're doing is we're running from looking at ourselves and let me go over here and I can fix you, but I can't fix me, kind of thing. So I
Exactly.
have to pull myself back and say, you know what, Kathy, if you're like, sometimes the words that come out of my mouth to somebody and I'm trying to be comforting to and stuff. I'm like, are you listening to yourself? Listen to yourself, because these are good words. These are really good words. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it comes back to the that the only thing we have control over is our mind. Yeah. And we have control over it. And so we're not broken. We have control over it. And nothing else we can control anyway. So there we are.
Don't you think
Yes.
it's kind of nice knowing that?
It is nice knowing
I'm
that.
exhausted controlling other people. Okay. So to know that I only have to listen, all I have to do is, only thing I have control over is my mind. There's some peace in that. Okay. Doesn't mean I'm fixed or anything like that, but there's some knowing of, you know what I mean? I don't have to worry about all that out there. All I got to do is be kind. This is my thing. All I need to do is just be kind. You know what I mean? Look for the good and listen. That's all I'm wanting to do this year. Is those three things are going to be solid in me by the end of the year. So thanks for listening to me.
Totally. Hey, Tammy.
I'm
Hey,
there.
Mary. Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Anyone else would like to share anything about why am I screwed up or broken? Okay. If not, then we can go to the next topic, which is what you resist persists. Who would like to read? What you resist persists.
I'll read.
Hey, Sherry. All right, go for it. Sherry. Oh, who else said?
I think Mary was before me, and I don't
Mary. Okay,
take
go for
anything
it.
away from my friend Mary. Bye, bye, minha amiga. Ciao.
Hello,
All
hello.
right. Hello,
We have
hello.
all heard it said that what you resist persists. It seems cliche, but there's great truth in it. Remember that what you don't want is what drives your behavior, beliefs, feelings, and emotions. When tapping, you will inevitably come up against resistance at one point or another. As uncomfortable as it is, it's your indicator that you're on the right track. Your target is in sight. You must dig deep and keep going once you reach this point if you want to truly let go of the problem. Find what you are resisting and make peace with it. It's your gift. Then you can say, I am now empowered to do and be everything I want to be. Your worst enemy or your biggest fear is your greatest healer. Those who come into your life and stir up a hornet's nest of emotions are the ones who give you the most opportunity to change as you make peace within yourself. They're your greatest gift. Amen to that. It doesn't feel like it at the time, though. But
I
wow.
know.
I mean, being married to an alcoholic, trying to control him, not taking responsibility for myself, it just and feeling like I was doing the right thing. And being so miserable and I mean, I started this journey in 2011 and I'm a whole lot different than I was back then, but even more recently since EFT tapping last September. And it it's so much more satisfying to see my worst enemy, my biggest fear, as my greatest healer, because it's such a much easier way to live, and that allows gratitude to enter, and peace, and looking forward to the future without fear. Um, just letting go of all that. Uh, but we can stay stuck in those lies for so long, and it's always bubbles underneath. It's just always bubbling underneath until you can let it go. And so, thanks for letting me share.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing. Yes. Anyone else like to share?
I find that when I'm tapping, I get so undone with myself when it's like, dadgummit, where did that come from? And something will come up and I think, what the heck is wrong with me? You silly, silly woman. And then I have to get rid of all that and then tackle that. But it's quite an experience to go through all of that. It's just so filled. And sometimes I just want to say no, but I have to go snap out of it, woman, and do it. So yeah, but that is true. And I love that about this program. So
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you. Definitely. Tammy, you had raised your hand as well. Would love to hear.
Yeah, I'm enjoying listening to David Bayer, and his formula is like a desired result minus resistance. Or I'm sorry, so a desire minus resistance equals desired result. And I don't think
I
that
love
we
it.
realize how powerful resistance is, like taking a client into it or going into it ourselves. Like, we'll just step into this worst case scenario, and what is it that bothers us about it? What is the resistance to having that? Well, it's going to be so bad. Well, it's already so bad. So having a desire and then subtracting all the resistance to that leads to the desired result. And sometimes it's kind of it goes in the opposite direction, right? Like, we're so resistant of something bad happening, and when we let go of that resistance, something good can happen. Do you guys notice that both ways? We resist the good thing, but whatever we're resisting in the bad thing also drives us away from having goodness.
Oh,
More
totally.
goodness. Yeah.
So true. This is David Bayer, Bayer.
Yeah.
I love it. It's really good.
Yeah.
I'll check him out. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
sharing. Yeah. I can definitely, like with so many circumstances and incidents in life, like when you resist the bad, you're holding on to it and you just keep fighting against it. You just teeth sunk into because like you keep resisting it and just keep fighting. As soon as you let go, it's like, ooh, it just makes so much space in the life, as you said. It's beautiful. Certainly. Yeah. Anyone else would like to share? Hey, Viv.
One of the things that I'm doing for myself with this process is recognizing what Robert is saying is that every time I see something and I have a point of view, a judgment about it, I remind myself that, that's really you. And I also remind myself that this is all I've ever known. I mean, I really, in doing the work, as I'm changing memories, I'm recognizing that this is so familiar for me. And I have to be kind and patient with myself and that resistance, because the resistance helps me understand that I just don't have enough new experiences yet. And it's okay. I think one of the things that's really happened for me is the shift. I feel like I've kind of crossed that line a little bit where I'm much more aware. Instead of it overpowering me, I'm aware that this is me. And it's just an illusion that I created out of that survival. And it's okay. It's okay. I don't know if anybody else sees it that way, but for me, it's just been really powerful that it's not, I'm happy I'm on the other side. Doesn't mean I don't have bad things, but I get it that if I'm pushing against it, it's just because that's my conditioning and program. I go back to presuppositions, and look at that. And that's been a fun thing too, is to, as I'm catching myself in the act, I'm trying to get the vocabulary down, because I feel like it empowers me. Oh, there we go. Presupposition. Oh, I'm in third position. That has been one of the biggest dynamic things for me, is to understand those positions, because when I started, I was never in anything but third position. That blew me away. So again, if I'm not in here and I'm not experiencing it, then I realize that I'm in resistance. So anyway, it's just a powerful thing for me.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it. Definitely. Anyone else?
Vivian, could you expand a little bit on that third person thing?
Positions.
Third person position?
Yeah, the perceptual positions are huge for us in this process, because like I've been hanging here for a long time, and this is my turn. I started this is fourth restart, and each time I learn more and more. So third position, when Robert would ask me, well, where do you see? I can only see it as a movie. I could never be in my body with you. When you said that to me and you hurt my feelings, well, my feelings were hurt. I could never be in my body with you in the experience. I'm always on the outside, always observing it. That's how my body created the security, is I'm just an observer of it. So it took me a long time to understand those four positions. And then I've talked to Robert about it several times, because it's so critical that we want to be in first position. This is our experience. We're in the moment. And then we want to be able to go second position, and we want to see it from their perspective. But see, position 1 and 2 are associated. And that's the thing, is that's how I got it, is when I saw associated and disassociated, I went, what the hell? So we want to be we want to be alive and experience our life and not be afraid to be in the moment. So we got to be in position 1 and 2. We got to do that. And then position 3 is where you're just observing it. You're like, it's not really happening. And then position 4 is, oh, all dogs do that. The where we, I forget how he explains. I haven't got that memorized yet, but it's where we stereotype. All women who are 40 years old, they all go through menopause or whatever. And so that's another way that I found out, like,
It's universal.
yeah. So for me, I think one of the biggest takeaways I've taken away from this course so far is the fact to give myself permission to just feel, and not do that. And that's how I do it, is I never let myself experience the feeling. And so, or I didn't used to, now I am. But yeah, I think that the positions were critical. Didn't you guys think so? Yeah, eye opener. I mean, eye opener. Start paying attention to, when you're resisting, where are you? What position are you in? I mean, this is huge. And see, one of the things with how to make a bad memory worse was in 23 when I restarted again. My mom died, and then all this trauma happened, and I got to a place where I was talking with Robert in the mentoring call, and I just said to him, I don't want to feel bad anymore. I, I, I don't want to feel bad, and I don't want to feel guilty about not feeling bad. And so that's I,
Oh, sorry. I'm off.
yeah, but it's true, isn't it? And he said, because we were talking about how to make a bad memory worse, and so he really explained to me about how, like what Kathy was saying, how precious those memories have to, how you have to protect them, and it was okay. And then anyway, I could go on, but it all stemmed from what we're doing and the positions. Sorry,
Thank
pretty
you,
excited.
Vivian. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That was really deep. Thank you, Vivian. Yeah.
I
You know,
think
like how you,
oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Tammy.
I gotta quiet my family down. Um, I think when I looked back on my childhood, I was always rationalizing what the words my parents told me instead of experiencing it. Like, step into what was it like to be a child and have that face look at you, or have those words said to you, or have that experience happen, you know? It was easy to just always switch positions into, well, mom said this was good for me, and dad said this is love. And, you know, yeah. So stepping into that childhood perspective and experiencing it again, um, from that vulnerable, you're much more vulnerable as a child, right? From that really vulnerable place, that brings up a whole different thing that we just didn't realize the subconscious can hold us hostage to, right? Yeah. I had this one experience where I got this really super bad spanking, and my dad had said, "Don't ever go out on this road." I went out on the road. I almost got killed. There was like 4 lanes of traffic, and I went all the way across it with my bike, and then back. On the way back across, a woman stopped and grabbed me and put me in her car. I lied and told her I lived at my friend's house. They're like, "No, she lives over there." They take me to my dad, and he's like, "You lied and you went on the road." So I get this horrible spanking. And this whole time I'm, as an adult, people would ask me, I don't know how it came up, but then I was in a session and the person said, oh, so, what did you think about that spanking, or how does your dad feel about it, or whatever? And I'm like, well, he feels like he loves me. Like, he told me ahead of time not to do it. And that really was love, because he wanted to make sure I never hurt myself. And so I was really loved. Like, that was a good experience for me. Right? Have you ever had that where you're like, well, this is good because it was normal and they told you it was good, and you just don't re-experience it? And then they said, oh, so if that was your child, you would spank them that way. And that really switched. And I was like, no. And that's when I first realized, like, oh, I'm stepping out of it and taking my dad's perspective on all of this instead of letting myself experience, like, no, I don't want to be spanked. I made a mistake. I was out playing, you know, let me be playful. So, of course, rewrote the memory, and here I am playing all the time.
Thank you. That was a very interesting, you know, perception change there, Tammy. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, and Viv, thank you for describing the whole perceptual position thing. And yeah, I too, I feel like, I dissociate, and most of the time living in that third position. And so what are we resisting? I really love when you said that. What are you resisting when you're in that, you know, third, in a different perceptual position? Always keep that in mind. Definitely. I like that. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share anything else? We have a lot more of what you resist persist. So, who would like to read next? Kathy, you'll have to unmute, my friend. Yes, perfect. We would love to hear your voice.
Okay, so
Okay.
I turned my page, so I'm a little confused. So my pages are different. So we read what you resist persists, right? That heading.
Yes, I think we are at the point where it says, remember, resistance is the jackpot for healing. I
Okay.
think. Yes.
Okay. Remember, resistance is the jackpot for healing. You may find that you do not want to go there emotionally, but to be free of the problem, as you are probably starting to realize, you must address the emotions. The following are some thoughts you may find yourself thinking and some reframes that might help loosen the reins of resistance. I don't want to feel that again. Reframe with, maybe I can go there and feel it for the last time. I don't want to change my memory. Reframe with, it's okay to remember the good parts or what I learned from the experience and let go of the bad. But it really happened. Reframe with, it really did happen, but it's not happening now. Maybe I can let go of the ways it's affecting my life so I can be happier now. Ultimately, when you come up against resistance, and you will, there is the signal that you're on the right track, about to break through that invisible barrier that keeps your problem intact for so long. Now is the time to keep going. Go for the transformation. Never stop 5 minutes before the miracle. Important facts about resistance. Resistance is the way your subconscious, unconscious mind, limbic system tries to keep you safe by keeping you the same. Inside the biggest resistance is your greatest healing, if you push through. Your worst enemy can be your greatest healer.
Kathy, would you like to share anything, Kathy?
I totally and completely believe and understand that if you have a situation, especially like with people in your life, that you can't really just let them off, let them go. Those people are your greatest healers. They're your greatest frustrations, but they're also your greatest healers if you allow that to be. You know what I mean? If you can work through it, because I have found for myself just being able to, I don't know, step back. I don't have to say something about everything all the time. If there's something going on, I can just sit back and I can just watch it and ask myself questions. Why is that bothering you? What about that? Um, One of the big things that I'm learning to do, and I would have thought that I would have learned this a while ago because I've been around for a while, but the questions, not just, I mean, just the questions to ask yourself all the time. I didn't, I couldn't think of the questions. Like I could answer them if you asked me them, but I couldn't think of my own questions. And that it's kind of nutty because I mean, we're the ones who live in it, but we can't, so I'm really like trying to just go, what was that about? What were you feeling? And I, like Viv just said, and you had said it's true, Shristi, of what position are you in when you're resisting? Like I've never asked myself that question, because I can tell when I have resistance coming up. So it's something I'm looking forward to playing with and to, looking at it and going, wow, yeah. So the reframing, I'm getting a little bit better with that because there's times when I say something to myself, and if I could just reframe, if I just could make myself reframe that statement, I don't have to go down that rabbit hole, you know? And I do a lot of what ifs, like, what if I'm, like right now, I told you I'm working on listening, and it's like, what if I'm the best listener around? What if people come to listen to me? What if, because I really want that for myself, and I want to be a good listener, but I also want to do that for other people too. Like they give me that gift, I want to be able to give that gift back to them too. I don't know. I could go on, but that's it for right now. I'm
Yeah.
glad to be here. This is a fun little group.
We're glad to have you there. Definitely. It's fun. It's really good and insightful to, listen to different people and their insights, and we all get to learn.
Plus
Yeah, I
this
love it.
being in level one is like I would love to go to it again for the third time.
Oh,
Um,
it's the
because
best thing ever.
it is the foundation of it all, you know?
Yeah.
And I find like in my hour of power or whatever, I'm reading the level one book again. And so because there's things in there that if I'm not using it, I'm losing it, I feel like, you know what I mean? And since I'm not in a course right now, it's I want to keep my skills that I've already learned in up. And so by coming to this and doing these, I thank you for creating this group.
And that's why, I was like, the level one is the best, the concepts, because we can read those every day over and over, and we can learn and we can come to upper model of the world every time we do. So it's beautiful. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
And, as you said, like, uh, people come in our life, they're the biggest healers, right? Whatever we resist is the biggest healer. And, it's like, it just happens all the time. Oh, thank you. I'm a goat. Yes. Funny. Um, so, we fall into that all the time, like just yesterday, I was like really triggered by my sister-in-law because, she was pushing her little daughter to do basketball, which she doesn't want to do. And, I was getting really triggered and I was, I didn't really openly say it to her, but I was just talking to my husband, it's like, oh, and like, she doesn't want to do it and this and that. And, and just like always coming back to is like, whoever we have in our life, like all the people around us are there to be our greatest healers. If we take the opportunity for them to be like whoever is in our life, okay, how are we, what are we learning? Why are they here in our life? It's because there's something we need to learn to grow from. It's like whatever is around us, whatever people we meet, encounter, there's something for us to learn. And that just puts us in a place of more gratitude and learning instead of resistance. So it's just always, it's like, okay, resistance is here. Okay, what is it that I need to learn from her? And one of the biggest things that I was like, that quote came up, and I put it up on my phone as my screensaver thingy. God, give me the serenity, grant me the serenity to accept what I cannot change what I can, and have the wisdom to know the difference, so it's like, okay, what am I here to learn now, so always whenever there's a resistance, just tap on ourselves and find what meaning are we giving to this and what we need to learn. So that's it. Anything else anyone would like to share? Ooh. So yeah, that was beautiful. So the next topic is why some memories change faster than others. Who would like to read? Sherry.
Excuse me. Okay. I wanted to speak as English as much as I can. Why some memories change faster than others. Why does it seem like some memories change very quickly while others seem to take longer and need more sessions? That's a great question. There's two types of memories that we will work with, and then those funky little things. The first type of experiences an event once and the individual never looks at it again, and the brain does not link it to other memories. The individual does not invest time in the memory of the event and avoids it. In the second type of memory, the individual identifies with it, rehearses, and replays the memory repeatedly. They create gigantic neural network in their minds. This neural network is like ruts in a dirt road. The more your mind goes there, it's harder to get out of them. The ruts or trances are worn in, and so it's easier to stay stuck in the ruts. That's awesome to me because, sometimes it's like, oh, well, that's changed. Oh, that was fast. Well, that was fast. And then it's like, what the heck is going on? This is taking forever. And so I'm always glad to get this reassurance that, well, you're not crazy. Well, I am, but but it's okay. And sometimes it's going to take longer. And I like ruts in the dirt road. So
Yeah. One thing I noticed throughout some of the traumas I went through is that I kept rehearsing all the bad stuff over and over and over again, and it just became so automatic that I didn't feel like I had any control over it. And it must have formed such deep pathways. And I one day I was just kept rehearsing and I noticed it, and then I asked myself, I already know this by heart. Why am I still doing this? And I don't know if it was to feel the feelings I had or what reason that was for, but uh I mean it was so easy to think the same thoughts all the time because it was such a deep rut. And and I couldn't figure out why I kept going in that rut, because I didn't realize what had happened in my brain. So that was really interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary and Sherry. Yes. Yeah, what came to me was also that's why we don't want to um, screw up our, like how to make a bad memory worse, because we go into one memory and then like look at all the other ones, so they all get neural connections from this one bad memory that we are rehearsing, and then we're looking at all the other ones. Oh, and that happened and that happened. They all get connected, and then so like just not rehearse, and then keep going to the other ones. And that's why then we start working on ourselves, and they don't go away because they're all connected. Or we go to the other one and this one will come back because they're all just kind of connected. So keep it sacred. Work on one, don't go to the other ones, because the bigger we make the neural network, the harder and takes longer to change. Okay.
The way that I have made this easier is that NASA did a study, a 30-day program with the astronauts. And what they did was they had them wear these goggles, and then everything that they were looking at, they had to wear the goggles 24/7 for 30 days. And it distorted what they were viewing. And after 30 days, so when they were looking at people were upside down. Everything was distorted. At the end of 30 days, all of a sudden, the brain had rewired itself so that all of a sudden on like the 31st day or whatever it was, all of a sudden they were looking at people and they were right side up. And so NASA goes, wait a second, okay, so then they redid the experiment again. And on the 25th day, they took the goggles off, and then they waited, and then they put them back on again on the 26th day. And then they went to the 30 day, and it didn't work. And so for me, I always remember that experiment, because when you look at the unconscious mind, and this is how I shift fast, is I remind myself what Robert says, the mechanics of the mind. So we know it takes 30 days. NASA proved it takes 30 days to create that new neural pathway. Once it's set, it's in motion, it's there, and has the unconscious mind loves familiarity. So the more that we've been practicing these programs, these conditionings just by trance, but now we have this tool that we know we're just doing it and it's familiar. And so we like to go back to what feels good and feels familiar, even though we hate it. So if we know it's going to take 30 days to get that neural pathway, then what you were saying, we have to control our mind. We have to be captain of the ship. We have to control it and do it every single day for 30 days, just so the neural pathway can get laid. Once it's laid, then it starts to get easier and easier and easier, because the unconscious mind loves familiarity. It wants to feel that. And so what I finally realized is that Robert is giving us permission for us to feel good every day, so that that's where we want to go. Our brain wants to go there. It wants that familiar feeling. And I love that that we can do that on purpose. It's just a program, like he said. It's just that I was conditioned, and now, because I don't find fault with my parents, because they just did the best they could do. They just taught me what they were taught, and I get that. And that's about making that knowledge familiar as well. Is just recognize we all just did the best we could do. Everybody did. But anyway, I love this because I found this other thing on this was years ago, your brain and faster EFT that Robert did. And so, like I love this because that's like, okay, don't make this hard. Just make this easy. It's a simple process. It's going to do it over and over and over again. So I'm going to make that way more familiar. And that rewriting the memory was the hardest piece for me because I couldn't connect to what he was talking about because I didn't have, like Kathy was saying, I didn't have a lot. And now I'm making more and more and more. And I love this too. Robert says, make it up. And I go, get out. He goes, no, just make it up, Viv. And so I did. Anyway, so I love the idea, just remembering that that groove, when the brain makes that groove, that's where people like alcoholics and people who are really obese, that's the groove. I want that groove to be the one that I created on purpose today, not the one that I'm most conditioned to feel comfortable in, because comfortable misery is better than no misery at all, right? So anyway, that's my thought about that.
Viv, that was very good. Yeah. And 30 days, and the more familiar we make it. So there's a lot to be thought about in there. Yeah. So yeah, just like practicing the happy memories for 30 days and maybe just the rewrites for 30 days, just really making it familiar. I love it. Anyone, anyone else would like to share anything? Yes, no. Let's see the we have a few more minutes. Um, would anyone like to read Placebo and Nocebo effect? Victorian. All right. Oh, you're muted. Could you unmute yourself, please?
Oh, sorry.
Perfect.
The placebo effect is defined as experiencing a beneficial effect resulting of a placebo drug or treatment that cannot be attributed to the properties of the placebo itself, and that must therefore be due to the patient's belief in the treatment. It is the mind's greatest ability to believe to use belief, emotions, thoughts, and imagination to heal the body. Whatever the body does, the mind does, the body follows. Something you can do correctly inside your mind has beneficial effects on your body. The nocebo effect is the mind's greatest ability to not heal despite the effectiveness of the drug given. People may be conceived that it's nothing to help them, that nothing will help them. These people may remember a terrible experience with a doctor, they're rehearsing it, and therefore believe treatment is not going to work, and it doesn't.
Would you like to share anything, Victoria?
I'm good.
Anyone else would like to share anything about this? It reminds me of just what we were talking about just a little bit ago, that the only thing we have control over is our mind. And if the mind is so powerful that we can experience placebo effect, it's it's so powerful that, it's like we can heal ourselves just by thinking, just by cleaning up our mind. Yeah. Hey, Kathy.
So this is the one strongest memory, how I really like can understand this well is so I had cancer in 2018. Okay. It's not something I claim today. It seems like it's a whole nother world. But no one told me I was going to die. My doctor did not tell me I was going to die. So I never had that thought. So all I knew is I had an 8-year-old daughter. So that thought never came into my mind. But if I would have like heard him say that, I think my results would have been a lot different because there was just no way in my mind. I mean, there was no one introducing a thought to me that I could go the what ifs. All I knew is I had an 8-year-old daughter. I wasn't going to die. It wasn't even a question. Then when I got through after I had surgery, um, and I was told this, it was like, I, do you know what I mean? Like that can affect so many people. A guy that was in my same, I don't know what you call it. It was a cancer class. I don't know. It was a support group, I guess it was. But he was told that he was going to die, and we watched him week by week go down the tubes, and he died. So I just think that our minds are so powerful. Like that wasn't introduced to me. I had a reason of why I was going to stay well, of why, and then so that this placebo nocebo really, like I got it. No, because I remember feeling that. You know what I mean? I mean, I went through this, and so I don't know. I just thought I'd share that.
Thank you. Yeah. It's so powerful.
It is, and it's a constant, and it's a good powerful. You know what I mean? I don't look at
It's a
the
good
sickness
powerful.
part of it. I look at the fact that how my mind kept my body from dying. I
Yes.
think it did. So
Yes. Yeah. That's really powerful. Yeah. Anyone else would like to share anything?
Yeah, whenever I see placebo or nocebo, I always think of Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but like he has actual documentaries. Like his new one just came out, and he proves how this works. And he has all these conferences and people go there, and he shows with like actual scans of like people having cancer and then leaving without it, and it's all the power of the mind. And so that's something I definitely practice a lot. I was with like meditation and getting into that brainwave state, and then really feeling your future self that you want to step into. And I think it's really important that you feel it and not just like think about it, because it's more about the feelings. So if you don't know Joe Dispenza, you should know.
It's really definitely very powerful. Hey, Viv.
My girlfriend, she just went, her and her husband, he has Parkinson's, but they went, you have to do all this prep work, but then they went to the actual workshop. And in front of them, there was this guy, this young guy, about, I think she said he was 19. And he had some type of a spinal injury. And you have to do a lot of work to get to those workshops. You just don't get there. And so they have this like a bingo thing, and so a number comes out, and if your number's drawn, then you get to be participant in these different things, like the brain scans that you're talking about, Katie. Anyway, literally, this young man, about 19 years old, his number was called, and they did this whole healing process with them about collective, bringing the minds together in a collective way. And I kid you not, she said that they watched him, like he would have to in a wheelchair, and then they took him, then he would transfer with crutches, and by the end of that week he was literally walking down the beach. That's how powerful our mind is. I think I love Joe Dispenza because to me, he's teaching us what Robert is teaching us about how it works. That's why I've done so many different modalities like this, but Robert is teaching us how it works, how the mechanic of the mind works. And all we got to do is just understand how it works. And then Joe Dispenza is showing you the implementation of that. So I think it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've all experienced some kind of body healing, something doing this work, eutaptics, that definitely, because if we created it, we can heal it too, you know.
I believe that.
Yeah, because it's created in the mind.
Yeah.
we can't control our body, but if we are creating it with our mind, and the only thing we have control over is our mind, we can heal those things too. Yeah. And then we just have to surrender to it, you know. We just surrender to the body, you know. We don't have to like, you know, we don't come into this place of like, oh, I can control my body. No, we cannot control our body, but we can control our mind. You know, we can heal those memories and the past hurts in our mind, and the body will follow if it wants to, you know. I mean, if it's whatever, you know, if we believe in God or whatever, you know, that's all up to, you know, the higher power. We heal our minds, and that's the, you know, that's what matters. Yeah. Anyone else would like to share anything about placebo, any experiences or any insights? Tammy? Nope, she's going. Okay, bye, Tammy. Anyone else? All right. It was beautiful, beautiful discussion today. Thank you, everyone. Lots of good insights and lots of good learning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So next week, hey Ken, welcome. Next week, let's work through the universal pattern of creation and belief, which is very, very powerful. And why does tapping work? Yeah. And maybe we can talk about fractionation and defractionations. So thank you everyone for being here. This is such a lovely group. I love it. All right. You guys all have a good week, and I will see you next week, next Monday. Bye.
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 Thank you, Shruti.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Bye.